Welcome back. In my previous session, I have explained about how to create this Linux environment under VM. Now what I am going to explain you in this session is how do you stop this Linux box and how do you pause it? How do you basically log into this Linux environment? If you look at my screen here, after the installation, this screen comes in. If I enter a password here, it will help me to log in inside. I do my work here. Once I am done with my work, I might have to shut down my laptop or my desktop, right? In that scenario, what happens to this box that is running inside a VM? Now, what you can do here is you can right click on this here Linux and you can say pause. There are various options here. You can say pause or you can say power off, or you can suspend this. What happens when you suspend this is Linux virtual machine goes to side and it will wait for you to resume back again. Now you can shut down your completely your box, I mean your personal laptop. When you reboot again, you can reopen the VMware and you can simply click on this resume this virtual machine. Advantage of doing this suspend and resume is it's like a hibernate option in Windows if you are familiar with it. Otherwise you don't have to restart from scratch, right? You will go back to the position where you were before you suspend it. That's the first point I would like to highlight here. The second point is, if you don't want this, you can simply say Linux power and power off. It is like hard pressing the power button. Now you might come to the situation when your laptop or desktop abruptly shuts down, or you have to do a hard restart of your laptop or desktop. In that case, you just have to simply say power on this virtual machine. It might take more time than in a previous scenario of resume case, but still your virtual machine will come back to online. There's a second important point I want to highlight here. And the third and final point I would like to highlight here is, if you look at the memory allocated to this guy is 2 GB. You don't really need 2 GB to work on this Linux box. Simply click on this edit virtual machine settings. You can edit virtual machine settings only if you see this power on this virtual machine option. Once your Linux box is powered off, then only you can do this virtual machine settings. Simply bring it down from 2 GB to 1 GB. Or you can even further bring it down. By default, when you install it, it will go to a 2 GB. And if your laptop or desktop has hardly like 2 GB or a 4 GB memory, you don't want to give more memory to this guy here because it does not need that much. Now I change it from 2 GB to 1 GB and I'll simply click on OK. Now I say power on this virtual machine. So I say, do you want to connect to the every time you log in? I say no. It will go to the same sequence of regular Red Hat Linux restart. So if I quickly highlight those 3 points I covered, how do you pause or how do you suspend, then how do you resume your virtual machine? The second point I covered in this quick session is how do you power off, okay, and how do you power it on. The third point is how do you change virtual machine settings. Let's wait for this to start. This is the disadvantage of powering off and powering on. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time because it has to start from scratch again. Now I simply click on this and I say password and I click on